Today we are actually going to be running another franchise league simulation, but this time we're going to be doing something a little bit different. For everybody asking for a Kotkaniemi full career sim, it'll be in the works. It takes about 6.5 hours to do one, so I've been working like crazy. This past weekend, in 2 days, so 48-hour period, I was working for 32 hours of them, so I haven't really had a whole lot of time, but things should be wrapping up here in the next week or so I'll be able to sit down and actually get those videos pumping out. So you can tell by the title, this is going to be the best NHL teams in one conference and the worst NHL teams in the other. So the Atlantic Division is the worst team, so forth down. So you have Buffalo, Ottawa, Arizona, Montreal, Detroit, Vancouver, Chicago, and the Rangers in one division themselves. The Metro is the Oilers, the Islanders, the Hurricanes, the Flames, unfortunately. But you know what? We got a good shot in the Metro to make the playoffs. Dallas, St. Louis, Colorado, and Florida, where the West Coast is looking a little bit differently. Nashville, Winnipeg, Tampa Bay, Boston, Vegas, Washington, Toronto, and Minnesota. A ridiculously difficult division to play in, and I'm honestly very, very interested to see who's going to win this one, because these are all very good sim teams. As well, the Central Division is Anaheim, Pittsburgh, San Jose, Columbus, LA, Philly, and Jersey. So before I want to start this video, I want to thank everybody who's been watching videos on the channel lately. It's been huge. It means a whole lot to me. Channel's been doing really well, so if you're new and I haven't had the chance to thank you yet, thank you for clicking the subscribe button, and welcome to the channel. Happy to have you here, and hopefully these videos are entertaining for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy watching them, and honestly, any suggestions that you guys have for me to do things differently, leave it down in the comment section and it will be addressed. Either that, or if you have a video idea, something that you want to see, let me know and we will make it happen here for you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump ahead month by month, and then we're going to take a look at the league, see what the standings are, and go from there. So I'm expecting the Western Conference to always be at the top of the league, but they play each other a lot, so things can be very, very strange in this here sim. So let's go ahead, jump ahead to, let's jump ahead to the beginning of November. I guess it's not a month. We'll jump ahead to the beginning of November, and we will go from there. So we're here at November 1st. And this is what the NHL is looking like. So kind of like I predicted at the beginning. Actually, not at all what I predicted at the beginning. I thought for sure the entire top list was going to be full of Western Conference teams in this sim. So you have teams like Toronto, Boston, which you figure to be at the top because they're good teams. Columbus, not so much. Florida, again, Dallas are all bottom tier teams. Buffalo even. 7-3-1 is their record, with the Caps being 7-3-2. Arizona, 8th in the league right now with a 6-3-3 record. So maybe that's all it takes for the Arizona Coyotes to become a good team. At the bottom of the league is Blackhawk, Islanders, and the Avalanche with Flyers. And there's your bottom. Pittsburgh actually down there at the bottom. So to this point in the simulation, here we have points leaders, Tyler Seguin, Tarasenko, Jamie Benn, Radulov, of course Dallas, absolutely tearing it up. McDavid, Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, Raquel, and Jaden Schwartz. Your goal leader is Ovi with 12 goals. And here you can see everybody else that is leading in the goal category. The assist category is all Kuznetsov with 15 pretty much. And Andre Case, I think. Not entirely sure how to say the name, but 12 assists. So that's pretty damn good. That's top of the league. Jaden Schwartz, PK Subban, Pasternak, Stahl, McDavid. Let's go ahead and jump forth. So here's the playoff tree. I accidentally skipped the first game. I was trying to stop it, but it didn't want to stop in time, so a couple of teams have played their games. But let's look at the Western Conference matchups. We have the Ducks playing the Blue Jackets, Pittsburgh playing Boston, the Capitals are playing the Wild, and Toronto playing Tampa. So that's a pretty normal playoff teams that you'd expect to see. Going to the Eastern Conference, it's Florida, St. Louis, Calgary, Dallas, the Rangers against Arizona of all teams, and Buffalo against the Oilers. So teams that you would not expect to be in the playoffs being Arizona, Buffalo, the Oilers, Calgary, probably, unfortunately, I say that with a lot of pain, and Florida. Even though they're definitely a fringe team, and I think that they have a good chance of making the playoffs, Arizona and Buffalo are by far the biggest wild cards that I did not expect to see in the playoffs, but they are. So let's go ahead and sim the playoffs and see exactly who is our Stanley Cup champion, and let's look at the final tally season of points and who wins the award. So here you have it, the Stanley Cup champion, Anaheim Ducks, and they swept the Oilers in the final. So let's actually look to see how they got there. So the Ducks beat the Jackets in 7, as well as Pittsburgh beats Boston in 7. We have Minnesota beating Washington in 7, and Tampa Bay beating Toronto in 5. So, sorry, Leaf fans, but apparently you guys still don't do well in the playoffs. So, Western Conference final matchups are between Pittsburgh and Anaheim and Minnesota and Tampa. Going over to the Eastern Conference, we have Florida beating St. Louis in 6. Unfortunately, the Dallas Stars beat us, Calgary Flames, in 7. It was a hard-fought series, though. Definitely can tell you that much. Arizona beats the Rangers in 6. And the Oilers make light work of the Buffalo Sabres in 5. Eastern Conference matchups in the second round are Dallas and Florida, and Anaheim, and Arizona and Edmonton. The Ducks beat Pittsburgh in 7 to move on to the conference finals, as well as Tampa also gets another 4-1 victory in 5 games over Minnesota to play against the Ducks in the final, where Dallas makes easy work of Florida, beating them in 5, and Edmonton takes the Arizona Coyotes to 6, and they end up walking away with that one and make their way to the conference final. So in the conference finals, they were both hard-fought matchups. The Ducks ended up beating Tampa Bay in 6 games, and the Oilers beat Dallas in 5, both to punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup. In the final, though, we did have a sweep, and the Anaheim Ducks are your Stanley Cup champions, beating the Edmonton Oilers in 4 games. So let's look across the league and see how teams finished. Toronto leading the leagues with 115 points, 54 wins, 21 losses, and 7 overtime losses. Calgary Flames right behind them. We got 50 wins, 24 losses, and 8 overtime losses. Washington there as well with Florida, St. Louis, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Edmonton, Minnesota, Anaheim, and you know the rest of the teams that made the playoffs. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bottom of the league and see what happened there. So Vegas probably should have been how they were last season, comes up in last place. There were 70 points. Vancouver, the Islanders, the Kings. Predators only get 77 points on the year. Detroit gets 80, Winnipeg with 83, and that is the full standings of the entire league. Somehow the Flyers, I'm guessing because of the conference alignment, and that's exactly how it was. More points, but didn't get a playoff spot because Tampa Bay had 1 more point than them. So, unfortunately, Flyers fans, you guys lost out because harder division realignment. I'm sorry. It's painful, but you know, you guys will get there eventually. So, leading the league in points for the end of the year was Alexander Ovechkin with 92, tied with Connor McDavid, actually. Both had 92 points. Tarasenko with 91, and they were only 90-point players in the season. Patrick Kane puts up 83. Erik Karlsson, highest-scoring defenseman with 80 points. Crosby, Kuznetsov, Eichel, Matthews, Tavares, Sagan, Skinner. So I'll go through this quickly so you can see where your favorite player finished. We're only going to do 50-point players just because I think that's fine, and there seems to be quite a bit of them. So we're going pretty quickly. Yeah, you know what? That's good enough. If your player isn't on the list, I'm sorry, but there's tons of guys here, and you know, a bunch of big-name players put up tons of points, and guys you wouldn't expect to put up a lot of points would too, as players like Brendan Gallagher put up 62 points on the year, which is pretty ridiculous. Going into goals, though, Vladimir Tarasenko actually tied Alex Ovechkin for 56 goals on the season, so that's absolutely crazy. Would not expect to see that. McDavid had 46, Tavares 40, and so forth. You see the rest of the goal scorers there. Actually, this is weird. Mika Zibanejad, 32 goals. Max Pacioretty, 32 goals. Both very weird goal seasons for them. Let's take a look at assists. So assists, Kuznetsov, of course, obviously going to win that one with 61. Erik Karlsson had 58. Schwartz with 57. Crosby 55. Matthews 54, and so forth. So quite a good year for a lot of these players. Players, again, you wouldn't expect to be on the list, like Jonathan Drouin with 48 points. Toivo Teravainen, 49 points. It's weird. The Sim did weird things this year. The highest shooting percentage of the top players in the league, though, with 82 games played, Tarasenko shot the puck in the back of the net 18.7% of the times he took a shot on net, which is just absolutely crazy to me. That's a stat that I absolutely love looking at because I think it's interesting to see who's actually, you know, what percentage of pucks are they firing on net or going in the net, and almost 19% of the shots they take are going in. That's a crazy year for Tarasenko. Now let's take a look at goalies real quick. Of course, the top teams in the league are the teams that you would expect to have the number 1 goalies. Freddie Anderson, Smith, Luongo, and so forth. Basically just on division finishing and regular season finishing. So that's the wins. Doesn't really matter, all 2 lots. Let's take a look at the shutouts real quick. And Mike Smith gets 11, Holtby with 10, Bobrovsky and Jones all had 10 as well. Save percentage is going to go to Mike Smith as the number 1 goalie in the league with the highest save percentage of a 9.932, which I hope he does in real life. Not going to happen, though. I don't see it happening at all. But 70 games played, 932 save percentage, Bobrovsky and Holtby up there as well with Corey Schneider, Roberto Luongo, Cam Talbot, and Martin Jones. Worst goals against, though, go to Jimmy Howard. Played 61 games in the year and had a 3 goals against average. That's terrible. That is just awful. Here's the rest of the guys that you can see that had really bad goals against averages, which is just absolutely crazy. Devan Dubnyk there, the 2.5 just about. Yeah, it's a little rough. I want to take a look at the awards, and then we will wrap up the video. So as you expect, Anaheim wins the Stanley Cup. President's Cup goes to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Clarence S. Campbell goes to the Ducks, and the Prince of Wales goes to Ed. The Art Ross, no question of a doubt, goes to Alexander Ovechkin, as well as Vladimir Tarasenko taking the Hart Memorial home this year. I think that's the first time he has won it. James Norris goes to Carlson, no question there. Lady Byng, instead of going to, Kopitar or Bergeron, going to go to Tarasenko this year, so he's taking home 2 pieces of hardware. The Calder is going to Casey Middlestat on the Sabres, so that is an interesting and awesome trophy for Buffalo fans. Hopefully Middlestat can do that in real life. Conn Smythe goes to Corey Perry, who is the most valuable player in the playoffs, to his team. So he comes back from the dead and decides he remembers how to play hockey, which is something that's I just find that funny. Vezina goes to Mike Smith, just crazy in net for him, so definitely well deserved, as well as the William M. Jennings trophy also going to Mike Smith. Masterson's going to Kaiser. The Selke goes to Bergeron once again. I think him and Kopitar just trade this trophy every year. Ted Lindsay going to go to Vladimir Tarasenko, and the Maurice Richard for some reason is going to go to. So this is the first time I've ever seen this happen in a simulation. When you get to the Maurice Richard trophy, because Ovechkin and Tarasenko both had the same amount of goals, they both won the trophy this year. So if you look down there in the bottom, previous winners in 18-19, you have Ovechkin and Tarasenko both winning it. So that's going to do it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I thought it was a cool little thing to do. Hopefully your team did well, and if you're a Ducks fan, well, congratulations. If you're not, then everybody, we can continue to hate them. And I say that because I'm a Flames fan. I don't actually have any bad blood against Ducks fans. It's just the thing you got to do. You got to hate Anaheim, right? Because they're like impossible to win against. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see in the future, different types of videos that you want to see. Let me know in the comment section. We'll make it happen. But definitely, if you're new to the channel and you made it to this point, definitely hit the subscribe button and stay up to date with the latest content, because it's bangers, it's good stuff, and you're going to want to see it. And hit the post notification bell while you're at it. So hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. That's all from me, so I will talk to you guys next time.